3.10.99, the Buddha said, "Monks, if anyone should say, even as a man commits a deed, karma, so does he correspondingly experience its result. This being so, there is no living of the holy life. There is no opportunity manifested for the utter destruction of ill. But if one should say, even as a man commits a deed that is to be felt, so does he correspondingly experience its result. This being so, monks, there is living of the holy life. There is opportunity manifested for the utter ending of ill. Now, for instance, there may be some trifling evil deed of some person which may take him to hell. Again, there may be a like trifling evil deed of some other person which is to be experienced in this very life. Not much of it, nay, not a dot of it is seen hereafter." I just stop for a while to comment. Here the Buddha is saying that when we commit karma, when we do a deed, an action intentionally, it is we don't get the corresponding result always. It all depends on the person. It all depends on the person. In other words, suppose like you do an evil deed, like you kill a person, and for one person, perhaps by doing killing, in the next life or the next few lives, he may experience being killed either once or many times. But another person, he does the killing, but he does not experience being killed in the next life. So this is karma is not very straightforward. It depends very much on the person, the person doing the deed. This is an important principle that we have to understand, because the Buddha said sometimes a person does a small evil deed and it can bring him to hell. But another person does the same small evil deed, he may experience it in this very life. Maybe he feels remorse that he has done it, and then it troubles him a bit, and then next life it's all cleared. He doesn't have to pay anymore. Now to continue. Now monks, of what sort of person does a small offense take him to hell? Herein, monks, a certain person is uncultured in body, uncultured in moral conduct, uncultured in mind, uncultured in wisdom. He is insignificant, his life is restricted, he is miserable. Of such a person, monks, even a trifling evil deed done brings him to hell. Now monks, for what sort of being is a similar small offense to be experienced in this very life, and not a dot of it seen hereafter? In this case, some person is cultured in body, cultured in moral conduct, cultured in mind, and cultured in wisdom. He is not insignificant. He is a great being. He abides immeasurable. By such a being, monks, a similar small offense is to be experienced in this very life, and not much of it, nay, not even a dot of it is seen hereafter. So just stop for a while to say, you see, a person with not much blessings, not much merit, not an uncultured person, just doing a small evil deed brings him to hell. Whereas for another person who is a great being, he is cultured in body, cultured in moral conduct, cultured in mind, and cultured in wisdom. He pays for it in this very life, and hereafter he doesn't have to pay for it. And cultured in body maybe is that he does not do evil with his body. He does not steal, he does not kill, he does not commit adultery. And cultured in moral conduct, in all kinds of moral conduct. He is cultured. Cultured in mind, that means he has developed his mind by meditation, by concentration, etc. And cultured in wisdom, he has developed wisdom, understands the teachings, the holy teachings, etc. Now, to continue, the Buddha said, "Now monks, suppose a man throws a lump of salt into a little cup of water. What do you think, monks? Would that trifling amount of water in the cup become salty and undrinkable owing to that lump of salt?" And they replied, "It would, Lord." "Why so?" "That water in the cup, Lord, being but little, would become salty and undrinkable thereby." And the Buddha said, "Again, suppose a man throws a lump of salt into the river Ganges. What do you think, monks? Would that river Ganges become salty and undrinkable owing to that lump of salt?" "Surely not, Lord." "Why not?" "Great Lord, is that mass of water in the river Ganges. It would not become salty and undrinkable thereby." And the Buddha said, "Well, monks, just in the same way, the small offense of such and such a person here takes him to hell. Or yet again, a similar small offense of another person is to be experienced in this very life, and not much of it, nay, not a dot of it is to be seen hereafter." Let's stop here for a while. Here the Buddha is giving a very good simile. In the days of the Buddha, they did not have fine salt like we have nowadays. They had lumps of salt. And the Buddha said, you just take a lump of salt, you put it in a cup of water and you stir it, and you drink the water, is very salty. But you take the same size of salt, same lump of salt, you put in the river and you stir it and you drink the water, is not salty. So what's the difference here? The difference is that the river contains a lot of water, and the water dilutes the effect of the salt. So the water represents the good karma, salt represents evil karma. So when we do a lot of good karma, it dilutes the effect of the evil karma. That is why that's the only way we can dilute the effect of our evil past karma is to do a lot of good now. Then the Buddha said, "Now again in this connection, monks, suppose a certain man has to go to prison for a theft of $10 or $20, or he has to go to prison for a theft of $1,000. Or again, suppose another person does not have to go to prison, even though he steals the same amount. Now, what sort is the former? He is a poor fellow, owning little of small means. Such a one has to go to prison for his debt. And for what sort of person does not have to go to prison for the same offense? In this case, monks, it is a rich man owning much of great means. Such a man does not have to go to prison." Here again, the Buddha is giving an example. Suppose now, you imagine a beggar comes to your house. You're at the back of the house cooking or something, and he comes in and he sees maybe you have $10 on your table, or $20 or $1,000. Then he takes it and walks away. And you happen to come out. You see the beggar walking away and your money is missing. Normally people would call the police and then have that man arrested and thrown into prison. But suppose some very VIP, a very important person, walks into your house in the same way, and then in the same way he pockets the $10 or $20 and he walks away. And when you come out, you see that person. On second thought, you think, I better not report to police. If I report to police, I might get into prison. So you see, two persons do the same deed. The result is different. So after that, the Buddha said, "So, monks, if one should say, even as a man commits a deed, so does he correspondingly experience its result. That being so, there is no living the holy life. There is no opportunity afforded for the perfect ending of ill. But monks, if one should say, even as a man commits a deed that is to be felt, so does he correspondingly experience its result. That being so, there is living of the holy life. There is opportunity afforded for the utter ending of ill." And this is a very important principle here. The Buddha is saying that not all karma is to be experienced, So that's why we have the case of a perfect case of a man during the Buddha's time by the name of Angulimala. We know that he killed hundreds of people. He was a kind of bandit, but he was a lone ranger. He stayed in the forest, and anybody who passed through the forest, he would shoot his arrows and come with his knife and all that, and sword, and slaughter the people and steal their goods and cut their fingers, and he'd wear the garland of fingers around his neck. That's why he was known as Angulimala, the garland of fingers. So this man, Angulimala, he should have, if he had passed away, he would have gone to hell and suffered for a long time. But the Buddha went to convert him, and he followed the Buddha. The Buddha used psychic power. He tried to kill the Buddha, but the Buddha was walking very slowly. He came from behind and ran after the Buddha and tried to attack the Buddha from behind. But even though the Buddha was walking so slowly, he could not reach the Buddha, even though he was running at top speed. So after a while, he shouted to the Buddha, "Stop, monk, stop." And then the Buddha said, turned around and looked at him, and the Buddha said, "I have stopped. You have not stopped." Then he thought to himself, what does this monk mean? Then he thought, this monk can't be telling a lie, he must be speaking the truth. He has stopped, I am not stopped. Then he threw away his sword and all his weapons, and then he knelt down and asked the Buddha to explain. Then the Buddha told him, "I have stopped killing, I have stopped harming all creatures. You have not stopped. That's why you still turn around in samsara." So then he realized, then he wanted to become a monk. So he followed the Buddha. And then after that, he practiced the holy life and he became an arahant, got out of samsara. But because of his karma, sometimes when he went on alms round, pindabat, people would throw rocks at him. He'd come back with a bleeding head. And then he'll tell the Buddha, weeping, and tell the Buddha, and the Buddha told him to bear it. And then that time, I think the Buddha gave him another name and told him to bear it. Said that if you don't bear it, if you don't, the consequences of your karma are so heavy, you have to sort of strive to get out of it. So he strove so hard that he became an arahant. And when he became an arahant, he didn't have to pay at all for all that karma that he did. So the Buddha is saying that if we have to pay for all our karma, then there's no point in practicing the holy life. You can never get out of it. You never get out of samsara. So the one principle we have to remember is not all karma will ripen. Second one, the result of karma depends on the person. Different persons, the result of karma is different. And the third one is to dilute the effect of the past evil karma. We have to do more meritorious deeds like keeping morality, dana, sila. The second one is dana, doing charity. Another one is bhavana, development of our mind. Another one is listening to the Dhamma, the teachings, and then discussing Dhamma, visiting monks, etc., etc. These are spelled out in the Mangala Sutta. The different ways of obtaining the highest merit. All these are the ways of attaining merit.